Hi everyone, welcome to this next episode of Interwoven Midwife. It's a very special one because my mentor Sheila, my first midwifery teacher, is here with me today, and she's here with our dear friend Nancy in Donegal in Ireland.
Yeah, we've been here for 4 days.
And you're very welcome.
It's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've waited until the last minute to record this. So it's late, it's 10 o'clock at night, it's past our bedtime. We've had a great day.
But it's still light outside.
It's still light outside, the magic of Ireland. We've had a great day. We've had a great few days, haven't we? We've fit a
it's
lot
been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And today we went sea swimming.
Yes.
We went sea swimming and we're home, and it's the last night, and I'm probably going to cry when I leave tomorrow. But Sheila, how did we meet? How did I get hooked up with you?
I remember Peggy Furlong.
Is that our connection?
Having something to do with us meeting.
Okay.
And Peggy Furlong was a lactation consultant, and she knew you, and somehow she
because I had studied lactation with her while I was in nursing school.
Right.
And did she work for a healthcare plan?
Yes, she did.
Okay, so that's how that all happened.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to backtrack a minute, and we're just going to say that we've lit our candle already to bless this space and bless this time together. And the candle's one of those folklore candles from Hannah, and I'll put our link below. And I brought my white feather that Sheila gifted to me.
I don't even remember.
I know, and I don't remember if it was for when I left Buffalo or if it was for a birthday, but it was in a card with a rooster on the front.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the card?
I took the picture of that rooster.
You did take the picture of it.
Yeah.
Now I remember that you did that.
Yeah.
And and so I didn't bring a lot of things with me to Ireland, but I brought your feather.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, so our feather is with us too.
Oh.
And so tell us. So we met through Peggy Furlong. That's how I was blessed to come study with you. Yeah, and I'm so grateful for that time. And then I went for my first. That's my cat Rupert on the kitchen table where he doesn't belong. Rupert and Sheila have become fast friends, and Rupert's been flirted with and loved up this last 4 days for a lot. I went to Central New York for my first midwife job.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then healthcare plan was making changes, and there were 4 full-time midwives there,
right,
and you were going to hire a 5th midwife,
right.
And I came home. I was home in the Western New York area for a visit, and I came back to my apartment, and on my answering machine, back when we had answering machines, was a message from Christy Sabatino saying that you were hiring a 5th midwife, and you all couldn't think of anybody you'd want more to join.
Oh.
Good.
Wow, those were the good days.
And it was
those
such
were
a
good
blessing.
days.
Total
5 midwives.
I know, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was a total blessing at the time, because this is a complete aside, but so many women deal with this, so I'll say it. I was actually experiencing some sexual harassment at the job that I was at.
Right.
And there was a real fear inside of me, and there was also a good chance that I could have lost my job, because back then it was when midwives had to have a collaborative agreement, a written collaborative agreement with a physician. Right. And he was threatening to pull my collaborative agreement.
Wow.
For not, dating him or whatever. So to come back and to have that message, and then to be working with all of you when I knew you and loved you and studied with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was
such a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, you're just bringing back memories, and yet I didn't fully know what you'd been through. You probably weren't at a position to
talk about it. No, not at all. Yeah.
And how long were you with our group?
I think it was 3.5 years. It was a short time.
It seemed longer.
Because what ended up happening was we all lost our jobs except for you
and Susan.
No, you and Anne was there part-time, I think. But no, I think Susan lost her job too. Did she not?
I
Am I
remember
remembering that
differently.
correctly?
I remember it
Incorrectly?
differently, but
Okay.
there were lots of
Yeah.
iterations of working there.
Yeah. I remember going in and telling Christy, one of our midwives, she had just come back from maternity leave and she was sitting in her office pumping. And I had to sit there on the floor and tell her that we were losing our jobs. But everything works out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. So Sheila is a beautiful knitter, also among many other talents. So I was hoping you would tell us a little bit about your career as a midwife.
Okay.
Now that you're on the other side of it, having retired.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk a little bit about our knitting,
About our
our
knitting.
crafts, and then
Right, which I've gotten back to.
yeah,
again.
now that you have more time and everything, probably right.
Right.
And then we'll share a little midwife love and
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Tell us about your career.
Wow. So like where it all started.
I know. Yeah.
So I I went to Maine when I was about 19 or 20, and I met a family that was homesteading.
Okay.
And so that meant they had a plot of land outside of town, and they had their fences and their goats and their garden and their composting toilet and
Really
all that.
living off the land.
Living off the land, and they had a midwife. And I don't know if they had the book, The Immaculate Deception.
Oh.
But do you remember the book, The
I
Immaculate
want
Deception?
to say who I think the author is, but I don't want to say in case I'm wrong.
I don't remember the author. Yes.
Was
It's
it
Suzanne
Arms?
Yes. And so that, I read that book, and probably that homesteading mother to be turned me on to that
really
book.
influenced you.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so I read that book, and in that book she had the charts of the maternal mortality and infant mortality by countries around the world, and the countries that had the best outcomes were the countries that had midwives.
Yes. Yeah.
And that just hit me like a lightning bolt, and that's what I wanted to do. And so then I went to nursing school in Maine, and my intention was to be midwife.
Yeah.
And ended up moving to New Jersey. Oh, before that I was in Texas.
Oh.
And where I met Bruce.
Okay.
And I started doing home births. My next door neighbor was pregnant.
Okay.
Crazy times. And so this was like 1980.
Yes.
And she wanted to have a home birth, and they were going to do it alone.
Okay.
She and her husband next door were going to do it alone.
Right.
And I said, well, shoot, I can help you.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I started doing home births with that, and I remember saying a lot of prayers when I would go to a birth.
I bet.
And I remember doing a home birth there for a couple, and I think I charged like $300 or something. And had a backup physician.
Oh, did you?
Dr. Lindsay was a family practice doctor who was a little nutty, cuckoo, but he was a backup physician.
Okay.
So, so this couple, they wanted a home birth, and I was going to charge them $300, and the baby came quickly, and everything went great, and I was helping her after the birth, like postpartum, to help her out, to get settled, to bring her something to drink and something to eat. And I went into the refrigerator, and there was hardly anything in the refrigerator at all. And I thought, wow, they had no money. And so I decided not to charge them my $300 for that. Yeah.
One of the conundrums of midwifery. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's such an active service, and we have to make a living.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
But at that point, and then I had my daughter in Texas. Was
with
I
a
telling you
midwife
that?
at home
in
just
in
today
Austin.
or yesterday.
In Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And everything went really well for me. And but at that point, I decided like I really needed more knowledge.
Okay.
That I
Okay.
was kind of, flying along on a wing and a prayer, really.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to go to midwifery school. So we ended up in New Jersey, and for my first husband's first job, and I went to school at University of Medicine and Dentistry
Right.
of New Jersey. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
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 So I did that.
Is that when you would get a bachelor's degree in nursing and then like a certificate in midwifery?
Well,
or did you have a master's in midwifery?
You could at that point have a certificate or a master's in midwifery. So this was a certificate program.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a great program. So it was like
Good,
inner
good.
city Newark, New Jersey, which was a whole new
That's where you
experience
did your
for me.
clinicals?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was a whole new experience for me. And I mean, fast forward, like my first really wonderful midwifery position was in Dover, New Hampshire.
Okay.
And I worked with Judy Edwards, who's a wonderful
I recognize that
midwife.
name.
Oh,
Yeah.
Judy's wonderful. I learned so much from her. So this was a practice in Dover, New Hampshire, where we had 4 midwives, we had 5 OB doctors. We were their like first assist team.
Yes.
And we had our own midwifery group of patients.
Okay.
And they had theirs. And
Yeah.
and we worked together, and the doctors and us. It was just a really good collaborative practice. It was really great. I did that for a while and learned so much, and we picked up roots and moved again, and went to Ohio and did some home births more so than hospital births, a little bit of both.
Okay.
And ended up in Buffalo.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. Buffalo has been really good to my family.
Yeah.
And
You've been there ever since then.
yeah, been there ever since.
Yeah.
And we started a practice there. Peter Johnson had sort of started it. There was at one point 5 midwives and 5 doctors and HMO, staff model.
Yeah.
And we just had a great practice. We just had all kinds of people, and
yeah, because there were so many different offices in different areas of Buffalo.
Yeah,
so we really got to serve
diverse population.
such a diverse
Right.
population of families and women. Yeah, I loved that about it.
I did too. I mean, I loved my career for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And then when I decided to stop doing births, it's sort of like that natural progression of, your life changes, your children grow up, and then I shifted more to GYN care
Yeah.
and menopausal care,
Yeah.
and really enjoyed that as well.
Yeah. That's what I love about midwifery in the States that we don't have here in Ireland, is that in the States, midwives care for women all across their lifespan.
Right.
And we don't get to do that here in
Right.
Ireland. So I always tell people in my practice, my youngest client was 14,
Right.
and then my oldest client was 86. And I
Right.
got to see everybody in between,
I
and
know.
it was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think when we were at the pinnacle of, so was it Univera when we worked together? Jeez, I don't even remember. Isn't that crazy? There were so many changes, so many iterations
Lifetime
of it.
Health.
Lifetime Health is what it was, sorry. There were 5 midwives, and we took first call.
Right.
And
Right.
we did the GYN rounds, we did the postpartum rounds,
Right.
we covered the office clinics, and it was such a beautiful practice, I
Right.
think, really.
Yeah.
It really was.
I mean, I liked that model the best. I
Yeah.
liked that if you were normal, healthy woman
Yeah.
going through pregnancy,
Yeah.
good chance you'd be taken care of by a midwife.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you didn't want that, that's
That
no
was-
problem. There's
You were
a
always
doctor.
good about that. I had a chip on my shoulder.
No problem. But yeah, if you didn't, but if you were comfortable with it, that was the way it would be, and
Yeah.
it was, such a beautiful.
And I don't know, did we keep track of our statistics? We had such good outcomes.
I think we didn't do that as well as we could have.
Yeah. I know you get bogged down with everything else, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're retired.
And now I'm retired.
And now you're getting back into knitting and
I'm
crafting.
knitting and sewing and
We've been talking a lot about sewing this week and
right.
making your own clothes. And
Right.
Yeah.
And spending time with my grandchildren, and it's been nice.
I was welcome to be with Sheila at the birth of her granddaughters and
that's right.
her daughter.
That's right.
So,
Christina was the
Yeah.
midwife for both of my granddaughters.
well, Sheila was really their midwife.
No.
I just got
No. She was their midwife, and I was there to catch. And I remember I think it was with Olive, I said to Marika, my daughter, I said, why don't you just let Christina do it this time?
No.
And I'll watch Marnie. And my daughter Marika, she was like, well, Mom, like, what about me? Like, I want you there for me.
Absolutely, of course. Yeah.
But I did feel further away from birth with Olive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in my head.
In your head, you
Yeah.
were moving away from it.
Yeah.
Had you stopped doing birth?
Oh yeah.
When
I had
Olive was
stopped
born?
with Marnie.
Oh, okay. Oh, had you
Oh
really?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I hadn't really seen the connection, but I've done the same. I've kind
Yes.
of stopped doing birth and
Right.
moved more into women's health.
Right,
and so
right.
we have that in common.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you have told this story about a woman phoning you in labor, and you could hear her cat in the
Oh my
background.
God.
Tell that story because it imprinted so deeply in
Right.
me. I
Right.
love that story. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah. So it was, a night on call. It was 2 a.m, and a woman calls up, and she's like maybe 29 or 30 weeks
Oh, she
pregnant.
was early.
She was early.
Oh, I don't remember that part.
And
Okay.
she didn't feel right,
Yeah.
but she wasn't really sure what was going on, and so
Mm.
didn't know, maybe her back was bothering her a little bit, just kind of vague whatever.
Mhm.
And I heard her cat howl in the background. I heard her cat go like meow, and I said, you need to go to the hospital right now.
Yeah.
And she went and basically had the
I
baby.
have the baby. It gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Those connections.
I know.
It's just we're mammals at the end of it, right?
Right.
We're just.
Well, I had this
in the-
home birth probably in Texas back, way back in the day when I needed more education. It was a woman who was wanted a home birth, and I think she had fleas in her house,
Okay.
and they had decided to spray their house with pennyroyal oil.
Oh.
So pennyroyal, I think, is an abortifacient.
Okay. Yes.
And she called me up in rip-roaring labor. She was full term.
She was full term though. Okay.
And when I got there, the house reeked of pennyroyal.
I don't remember what it smells like exactly, but
It's
I don't
good.
think is it
No.
a good smell?
Oh yeah, no, it's like
okay.
mint. It's like a
Okay.
minty.
Okay.
It's a
Oh my
mint.
goodness.
Oh my
Oh
God,
my
that was
goodness.
unreal. That was another phew.
Oh. Wow.
Experience.
That's such a good. Yeah.
So the power of those herbs.
Will you show us what you're working on? Should we transition into what we're
Sure.
knitting?
Yeah.
Sheila has to pull it up on her phone.
Wait,
I'm-
where's your phone?
I'm still perpetually working on my traveler shell. And
It's really
I'm just binding off the neck ribbing, the ribbing
Wow.
around. Yeah. So thankfully that's great. And then all I have to do are the ribbing around the.
And it's prettier when you really see it than when you see it online. Let me just say.
Thanks. Thank you. So I'm almost there. I'm getting so close. And Sheila's making something that I actually just saw like a month ago for the first time and wanted to make.
Not so great picture.
But
There
it's
we
better
go.
than nothing, so that's good.
It's a blanket. It's a garter stitch prism blanket. Can you see it?
Yeah, I think so. I
Okay.
think I'll put the link to it down below.
That's a
also.
good idea.
Yeah, so then everybody can see it. But you bought a kit.
It's a
From
kit
Pearl
from Pearl
Soho.
Soho.
What's it called? What's the blanket called?
It's called a prism.
The prism blanket.
Yeah.
It's lovely. And you're making it for?
Well, I was making it for whoever, but my granddaughter Olive saw it and she said, "Ooh, can that be mine?" I'm like, yeah, sure, that can be yours.
Yeah, I love
So,
that. That's beautiful.
That's what I'm doing now.
That's beautiful.
And I'm almost done.
Mm.
I have to be done by October
Okay, for her birthday.
for her birthday.
Yeah, well, you can do that.
Mhm.
I was going to share this little. Sometimes I have this little pocket Pema Chodron, and sometimes I just open it when I feel like I need a little bit of her medicine. And I opened it twice to the same passage today, so I was going to read it real quick.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Mhm.
This is cultivate loving kindness toward yourself. Some people find the teachings I offer helpful because I encourage them to be kind to themselves. The kindness that I learned from my teachers and that I wish so much to convey to other people is kindness toward all qualities of our being. The qualities that are the toughest to be kind to are the painful parts, where we feel ashamed, as if we don't belong, as if we've just blown it, when things are falling apart for us. Maitri, or loving kindness, means sticking with ourselves when we don't have anything, when we feel like a loser, and it becomes the basis for extending the same unconditional friendliness with others. Cultivate loving kindness toward yourself. I love that.
Mhm.
I just felt it must be medicine for today, that I
Definitely.
saw it twice.
Right.
I have one other thing that I want to share. Will you share a piece of midwifery love with us?
So, what do you mean?
A poem or a thought
Oh.
or a piece of wisdom or a piece of advice or
As a midwife?
I have a piece of your medicine
Okay.
that I'll share,
All
but
right.
if you have something
Okay.
you'd like to share.
Well, go ahead.
I'll say
I'll see
first.
if I can think of something.
When our colleague Christy Sabatino was pregnant with her first baby, we had a blessing way ceremony for her. We were just talking about that today.
Yeah.
And talking about where it was held and all.
Right.
And I remember bringing the prophet with me and reading from the prophet for Christy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting at this beautiful candlelit table, and we all went around and shared something with her. And you said, now I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember exactly, but you were blessing her labor and her birth. And you said something along the lines of, may your labor be just hard enough that you know your strength.
Ooh, that was good. Aww.
Oh, good you laughed because I just was about to start bawling my eyes out. It was really good. It was really good medicine, and it has always stayed with me. May this, the little salt of life just be.
And that's really does sum up so much of it.
Doesn't it?
I remember one time seeing this woman in labor. She was from some other country other than my country. And she was struggling so much through her labor. And I watched her face change from being a little girl to a woman. Like it was
throughout her labor,
Yes.
right in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really incredible to see. It's not something you see often, right?
Yeah. To be able to witness that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to see it,
Yeah.
like Yeah, so it's quite a transition, as they say.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Does that count as your?
That will have to
beautiful.
count.
That's so. And so, may we all have just that touch that reminds us of how strong we are.
Yeah.
If we need remembering. I love you so much.
I love you too.
I'm so glad you're here with me.
It's been really good.
I'm so grateful for the role that you've played in my life and
you're so
how
sweet.
I've been able
Love
to
you.
serve so many people because of you. So thank you. Yeah.
That was a salty kiss I
Joanne,
got
thank
over
you.
here. Salty.
Like,
We went in
oh,
the, we
because
went
of
in
the
ocean.
sea. Because of the sea. We did it. It was cold and we felt fabulous afterwards, didn't we?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nancy stood on the beach and took pictures of us, which is just fine too. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening and being here with us too. And may you bring loving kindness to yourself, and may life bring you just enough hardship that you know your strength. Yeah. I love you.
Love you too. Night, everybody.
Night.